Now, as we speak, equal highs. We've got potential here. 2-bar, imbalance up. Be interested to see what the reaction is following the service PMI print. But yeah, that's at this point, it's a weak demand zone. We want to see a really aggressive move, but we've got areas to potentially contend with here. And this kind of goes back to Greg's point at the beginning when we're looking at bias. On the weekly, I mean, overall bearish, 2-3 weeks have been bearish, but you just zoom back and it's going back to 2016. Yeah, it is. Yeah, there's no reason why it couldn't just come back into the range. It's just a bit more tricky from a supply and demand perspective anyway, and looking at opportunities. Yeah, Euro New Zealand, again, there's some decent opportunities, but more recently it's been quite difficult because we've had a mixture of breaks in zones. It's interesting because this little key rejection here from a longer term demand zone, so we just bear that in mind. We've had bearish sentiment and then we've had that mini pin bar engulfing candle from a demand zone. And since then, failed to make new lows, and we've just seen that continuation higher. And this is where it can be tricky. So just to zoom back in, because we have bearish sentiment, one candle break, come back into a longer term demand zone. We're now seeing rejection there. So favoring a short position, absolutely. Failed though, and then we're starting to see continuation higher. So the point is, longer term demand zones and supply zones can work. I just tend to favor more recent sentiment. Yeah, this is where you can potentially have longer term opportunities. Definitely something I'm going to keep my eye on. Not something I'm in, unfortunately, but in terms of where it can go if it does. And I think my top pick at this point, despite the market being fairly down quiet this week compared to other weeks, British pound yen, I think, is looking fairly interesting. We started to see a break of these recent lows. Now, again, a lot can happen from now until the end of today, come the end of the week, but definitely keep an eye on this area from a risk reward perspective as well. Any kind of retracement opportunity to go short, targeting those lows can be a fairly good trade.